If you've ever sailed on a normal cruise before, then you'll know that they suck. You're trapped in a floating mall with a bunch of uptight rich people and old saggy bodies necrotizing in the sun, enduring live entertainment so excruciating you'll wish you were in a Chinese prison labor camp. Normal cruises are terrible, but a cruise ship full of metal bands, attended by the silliest, craziest metalheads out there, partying and watching bands play for 4 days straight? Now that sounds like the week I just had. 60 metal bands, 120 concerts, 3,000 metalheads, unlimited mosh pits, endless partying, countless friends, free food, and one savior of metal. This is 70,000 Tons of Metal 2024. Headbang the like button, stage dive onto the subscribe button, and windmill the video to your friends. And did you know that for just 99 cents a month, you can help support a broke-ass metalhead make stupid videos? If you're a fan of the channel and you'd like to show your support, consider becoming a member. Memberships are only 99 cents a month, and each one really helps me toward my goal of creating a life-size Godzilla to invade Canada. And with that said, let me tell you about my experience aboard 70,000 Tons of Metal this year. I threw together a quick bag of supplies last minute, including necessities like nerdy metal t-shirts, passport, sunscreen, battle vest, Q-tips to get any shitty bands out of your ears, phone charger, and deodorant because metalheads smell. Grabbed all my stuff and got ready for a quick 6-hour trip to Miami. Remember folks, plane rides are fucking boring, so make sure you load your phone with the Lord of the Rings trilogy before your trip and bring video games. After a quick montage, I touched down in Miami and was ready for the pre-parties. That's right, the celebrations start a couple days before even seeing the boat. Heavy Metal Beach Party are a group of hardworking fans who take it upon themselves to host the official, unofficial pre-parties for the metal cruisers every year. Every year, these people somehow convince the Clevelander, a fancy outdoor bar and hotel in Miami, to let a bunch of metalheads with funny accents get absolutely hammered while blasting black metal to the confused locals. This was the PreParty, an outdoor concert featuring some pretty sweet bands, headlined by an Iron Maiden cover band. I'll be honest here, I wasn't expecting much and went more just to socialize and see friends, but the bands that performed here were quite good and impressed me. One of those moments where you're sitting there talking and you have to stop and be like, this is good. Except the cover band, because they're a cover band. But like I said, I came here to socialize. The pre-parties are treated as a big family reunion for everyone who's been on the cruise before, and as a sort of hazing ceremony for newcomers attending for the first time. Friends from all over the world, as far as Texas, Canada, Colombia, Finland, Atlantis, people from everywhere all converge on the Clevelander, overjoyed and eager to spend all their savings on alcohol. Which if you're in Miami, will not take you very long. Fuck Miami prices. The day before the cruise is the big pre-party on the beach. As you approach the South Beach coastline, you'll see this weird dark cloud on the beach. Is it fog? Is it a beached whale? Is it the necromancer? Nope, it is hundreds of metalheads decked out in their everyday studs, denim, leather, and combat boots. The perfect attire for a sunny day at the beach. The beach party is like a heavy metal concert without a band playing. Everyone is dressed for metal, drinking cheap beer, headbanging to thrash, and beaching each other off. You can always tell who's traveled from the coldest countries because they'll be playing in the ocean with the excitement of a puppy that's just been adopted. It really is a great celebration of warm-hearted metalheads de-thawing together and preparing their livers for the abuse that's soon to follow. I was telling my friend how going to metal festivals is like being part of an army that periodically invades different locations, sets up our own customs and traditions while terrifying the locals.
They do move in herds.
After a group photo, the party goes back to the Clevelander for a night of live karaoke and silliness. There's vendors here selling merch with all kinds of old school tapes and CDs. There's friends reuniting. There's overpriced drinks. There's people who will drink way too much here tonight and have a pretty rough time getting on the boat in the morning. That happened to me one time. I stayed here till 3 a.m. and stumbled onto the ship the next morning wondering if I was actually alive. Not this time though. This time I bowed out at a reasonable time and called it a night because the next day was when the real fun would begin. 70,000 tons is a marathon, not a sprint. Don't go so hard on land that you miss the damn boat, because they will leave you. In the morning, I was immediately off to the cruise port, so excited to stop spending money in Miami finally, when there she was, the Freedom of the Seas, the name of the vessel that shall be hosting 70,000 tons of metal this year. Many a metalhead have looked upon her and thought to themselves,
"It's my boat."
the cruise port itself is already a hilarious sight, just a sea of black shirts looking and acting like they're in line for a Slayer concert when it's to get on a luxurious cruise ship. People are excited, chatting, making friends, finishing their last land drinks and hiding various paraphernalia as they get ready for the party to begin. Before being allowed on the ship, you have to go through a brief security check that's basically the same you'd find at an airport. The check-in process, which used to take fucking forever, was very smooth and quick this time. Just a quick scan, walk through the terminal, and welcome aboard to the big-ass metal party. Walking on, you're greeted by pool girls and guys offering the official booklet on the cruise. This includes information about all the bands, fun activities you can do on board, and advertisements. Depending on what time you get on board, you'll probably still have a few hours before things really get going. Cruisers can board anywhere from 11 a.m. to about 3 p.m., and the music doesn't start till 5 p.m. This would be the best time for newcomers to walk around and have their "holy shit, I can't believe I'm on a cruise ship" experience. Your first time on board, you are just amazed and overwhelmed by everything. There's fancy staircases and bars and shops and metalheads and metal musicians and a casino and an ice cream shop.
This place has got everything.
Not everything will be open right away. A lot of stuff is still getting set up till the ship takes off. But once you are on board, you can go to any of the bars, the casino. The pool deck won't have much open yet, but you can go up there and just take in the views of the Miami port. The buffet is open, which is where a lot of people start their voyage. But if you're like me, you'll want to get situated in your room first. One of the highlights of this metal festival is getting your own room that is super easy to get to with your own bed and shower. My God, you don't know how much I enjoy having a comfortable bed and a private shower and outlets to charge my stuff and my own thermostat so I can turn my room into my own comfortable crypt. All of this is quietly tucked away, only a doorstep and a hallway away from insane metal partying. Walking in the room this year, something I noticed that I don't remember ever being there before. Metal music was blasting in the room, and on the wall was a volume knob to turn it up or down as you will. So you could just leave that on when you're showering or taking a break at any point and have music playing the whole time. I thought that was cool. The room also has an empty mini fridge you can use, and I found out that you are allowed to bring a 12-pack of a sealed, non-alcoholic drink on board. I walked on board carrying a case of Monster, and man, that shit saved my life throughout the cruise. If you're a caffeine addict like I am, they only have Red Bull on the cruise, so keep that in mind. While I tend to not spend much time in the room, goddamn do I appreciate having it. It takes maybe 5 minutes at most to get from your room to anywhere on the ship. You can easily run back to your room and take a shower after every single band if you wanted to, if you're some kind of weird germ freak or something. Point is, your room is always right there. If you just need a minute to recoup or want to put on another black band t-shirt, it is not a struggle at all to get back to your room for a moment. Much better than hiking through a muddy field for an hour trying to find your broken tent. This year I booked a single ticket, which on 70,000 tons means you'll be sharing a room with a stranger. Luckily, my cabin mate had been on the cruise many times and was an awesome guy, so that all worked out. But that is something I like to remind people of if they're considering the cruise for the first time. After checking out the room, I was off to the buffet, partially to see if my friends were there, mostly to eat free food after I just drained my bank account in Miami. The buffet here is decent enough. Not great, but definitely not bad at all. The highlight being that it's so easy to get in and out of. If you're watching a band on the pool deck and suddenly you feel your stomach grumbling, you can easily come in here, grab a burger and some chicken real quick, head right back. You'll only miss maybe one song, if that. Once it got closer to 5 p.m., however, I was off to see the first bands because this cruise was going to hit the waves running. Only a few hours after boarding the cruise was most of the bands I was excited to see on the lineup. The first two bands for me here were Infected Rain and Crypta. Two bands I'd never seen before and were big selling points for me. Unfortunately, both of these shows were held in the Star Lounge, which is the smallest venue on the ship, and man, this venue sucks. The stage is way too low to the ground, which sounds like a weird complaint until you come to see a band here and this is your view. The sound mix in here is also bad. To be fair, it has slowly improved over the years. It used to be unbearable in here. Now, sometimes it was good, and others definitely not. During Crypta, the mix kept going in and out, and when it sounded good, it sounded great. And when it didn't, Holy shit. I know several people that walked out of the Star Lounge during those bands, which sucks and isn't a fault on them at all. I thought both bands performed very well, but it's just rough circumstances in here. They really should have both been in Studio B, the far better venue at the time, but hey, I didn't make the schedule. But what is really cool about seeing the first bands on this cruise is that when they start their first song, the ship is still in the dock. But once they finish their set, you're in the middle of the fucking ocean. You go see a concert and walk back outside, and suddenly the environment you came from changes completely. It's weird. You really don't even notice that the ship has started to move until you step outside and go,
Holy shit! Is that the ocean?
Our voyage was officially underway, and it was time for the one thing I'd been looking forward to the most, one of my very favorite things about this ridiculous cruise, the dining hall. The dining hall is glorious, it's shiny, it's delicious, and it is free. Name me one other metal festival where you can have an underpaid island staffer lay a napkin over your beer-stained kilt and be served escargot and prime rib for no extra charge, and exactly 2 minutes later be in the middle of a circle pit. None, can ya? The bizarre mix of haggard metalheads and elegant dining does seem like a strange combination, as us metalheads are used to eating with sticks in our hands. But would you believe that the workers always say that they love the metalheads? Believe it or not, people on normal cruises tend to treat them much worse. It turns out that old people taking 5-day cruises to the Caribbean are a bunch of stuck-up rude assholes. Metalheads know we don't belong in a place of such class, therefore we have no snobby attitude about how we should be treated in it. The average metalhead doesn't even know how to use a fork, much less has standards for their service. We're just thrilled and grateful to be served food that isn't still breathing. Therefore, we tend to be much nicer, polite, and entertaining to the workers on the cruise. The dining hall is only open from 6:30 p.m. to 10 p.m. every night, but I will happily miss bands to eat here, and it only takes like an hour or so. Anyway, after I got fat, it was time to burn some calories in my neck with the halo effect. I really did not mean to make that rhyme. The Halo Effect were the first band for me in the Royal Theater, a multi-story venue that actually has great sound. The Halo Effect are a new supergroup, in a way, of melodic death metal veterans from bands In Flames and Dark Tranquillity. Vocalist Michael is a longtime Metal Cruise fanatic, and was probably the artist I saw the most hanging out around the ship enjoying his vacation. He's such a heartwarming dude when he's on stage. He looks like he's just so grateful that people love his music. And we do. I really enjoy Halo Effect's album. At this point, the cruise was in full swing. There were even sharks enjoying the concert. See, metal really does bring everyone together. And by the way, I actually heard that these sharks are a sort of tribute to someone who used to go on the cruise. I don't remember the full story, but if someone knows it and wants to leave it in the comments, I would appreciate that. The band sounded great and were heavy as fuck while still having crowd harmonies and cheering. It's like happy death metal. The Halo Effect's first show really made me feel in the thick of 70,000 tons. Once they wrapped up, I kicked it in the casino for a little bit, and then returned to the theater for Blind Guardian. When I was a young little metal savior, I worshipped Blind Guardian. They were my favorite band for years. I still very much appreciate them, but they are a bit more of a nostalgic act for me now, at least. Which is a nice way of saying I really wasn't interested in hearing a bunch of new songs. Thankfully, they played a mostly old school set, even opening with Imaginations from the Other Side. And this show was magic, honestly. Blind Guardian isn't the most visually entertaining band live, but the power and energy of their music is so overwhelming. During their set, I kept having flashbacks of when I was a teenager, just discovering this band and dying to see them live. Songs like Nightfall and Bright Eyes brought a beautiful energy into the theater, and the Bard song may have started to make my eye leak just a little bit, don't judge me. Their set was full of classics the whole audience knew by heart. They only played one new song, which actually sounded really good, I won't lie. It was such a beautiful set, and made me feel like a hobbit singing at Bilbo's birthday. Except we were on a cruise ship. Blind Guardian wrapped up, and I had one more band this evening, but first, Pizza at Sorrento's. A little shop you can walk up to and grab a slice and go. It's like a gas pump for humans. Then I was off to Studio B for Flesh God Apocalypse. Heavy as fuck, grinding, beautifully symphonic death metal. Their music is like if Shakespeare was possessed by a demon. Absolutely brutal death metal with classical piano and operatic vocals. This show was fucking awesome. The crowd was wild, wasted, and ready for action. Everyone is several bands in at this point, and the rabid energy of metal fans is in full motion. Out of the indoor venues, Studio B is my favorite. It actually feels like a good-sized club with an open floor. It's perfect for wild audiences. The crowd was insane here, the necks were breaking, and Flesh God fucking delivered. Their set made me feel like I was hit by a truck and had read classic literature at the same time. They played for a little more than an hour and finished their set at around 1:30 a.m. At this point in the night, some people are off to watch more bands like Leaves Eyes, some people are off to chain smoke in the casino, or butcher classic songs at karaoke in the sports bar. But I was off to bed. It had been a long day of getting on boats and shit, and there was so much more to come, because this epic goddamn heavy metal voyage is just getting started. What will happen on the other days of the cruise? Will all of the headbangers survive? Can a bunch of drunk metalheads make it to their final destination and defeat the almighty Kraken? Find out the answers to all this and more on the next episode of Boats and Shows. For more from me, check out my band Dark Insanity on Instagram and here on the channel. We just recorded our first demo we'll be releasing real soon. We're taking part in the Wacken Metal Battle this year, where unsigned metal bands compete in a Battle of the Bands competition for the chance to play Wacken Open Air. Our first performance is March 2nd at Stages in Santa Ana. Come out and support us if you want, that would be cool. We're also playing the Tulminator Festival in Slovenia in July, our first European festival show at the most beautiful metal festival in the world. Come check it out. You can also follow me on Instagram and Twitch if you like. I'm about to start streaming over there, so check that out. Links for all of my cool stuff are in the description of this video, so go check those out. Anyway, that's it for now, and I will see you in the next video.